So I'm sitting right here. I just got off of work, right? And I think about this every day, and I've been thinking about this for a long time. It's probably been going on the last 2-3 years about the fact that, like how basically the job market is getting worse and worse, right? And then on top of it getting worse, I got to think about the fact that for some reason you would think on paper, I make a good wage, right? So I make $33 an hour. When I got out of high school, which was 2008, I thought that, if I was making just around like $25 an hour, $30, $40, that, things would be a whole lot more better, for myself, at least in the financial sense. Because, where I come from, you basically a needle in a haystack. You see somebody with this immaculate job, and if they didn't have that immaculate job, maybe, just maybe, they would be like in the military or something. But if you could fast forward it, since I graduated in 08, fast forward it till today. It's 2025. I'm sitting right here. I'm driving home, and I'm looking. I noticed that, I think about it all the time, that I'm making these $33 an hour. So I make about $1,000 a week. But for some reason, it's like the way of life completely changed, drastically. So if I'm basically living a particular lifestyle, now I'm in a position of where I'm literally like playing, like catch up or whatever. And it just makes it worse because there's not too many jobs out here anymore, as of right now, and based on where the future is going, with AI and automation and all of that. And then if you want to get a decent job nowadays, they basically want you to come, for the most part, suited and booted, to where you don't need much training. Maybe they'll show you something for a couple of days of how things are, but after that, you basically need to know what you're doing. And the type of work that I do is more like, I'm a trailer mechanic. I said it in my last video, I believe. But there's avenues where I can reach if I want to be more specialized, regarding like reefers and stuff like that, dealing with like the AC and stuff like that, or fixing on tank trailers and stuff like that. But yeah, I'm looking at the wage I'm making, or the amount that I'm making, right, and it's basically not correlating with like how things are. Like, so if I'm paying the mortgage, the internet, let's just say trash, car insurance, let's say the gas in the car, let's say the electric bill, a few other things, you start to realize, like, and then the last maybe 2-3 months, I've been dealing with car maintenance, having to fix stuff on my truck. And then the little stuff like, Amazon Prime and stuff like that. Netflix, for people that got Netflix. I ain't got Netflix, but I got Amazon Prime. But when you start to add that up, you start to realize, like, man, it's for the most part, it's pretty much unsustainable. And then if you add the fact that I have a daughter, so if you add kids, so now you're getting into the kids. You gotta buy your child. If you got a baby, like a small baby, you gotta buy, Enfamil and diapers and stuff like that. Now, if you got larger kids, they gonna want their own Amazon Prime. They gonna want their own Netflix, maybe. They gonna want their own. You gotta buy them their own clothes. They gonna need their own phone bill, unless it's a family plan. You start to realize how unsustainable it all is. And I remember when I used to work at this place, it was called Verge, and it was basically ran by a bunch of, like Europeans, people from Russia or Belarus or Germany or Bosnia. But when I was there, and this was around maybe like 2012 or something like that, I was making like, I probably was making like $12, but I was able to like save for anything. Basically, I was able to save for a car. I was able to have a lot of food in my refrigerator. I was paying all the bills. But at that time, I do know I didn't have as much, responsibilities and certain assets and stuff like that, like as much as today. But you would think, like, for the people that used back in, let's just say 2005, 2000, something like that, for people that was making like $25, $35 an hour back in those times, they was living the life. They was living like real good. Like they were able to easily save for a house. They could get a car and pay the car off. And I mean, I have an uncle. I think he was doing working doing some type of forklift job. And I don't know how much he was making. I think he was making like $12 an hour at the time. And this man had multiple cars. I think he had multiple houses. And I'm just sitting here like, damn, I'm making this amount. And that shows you how much they basically have hoodwinked a lot of, the middle-aged people. But they've hoodwinked everybody. You got the younger people coming up. They don't even, for the most part, have a future. You got the babies that's growing up. This gonna be their new normal, to where they definitely, for the most part, won't own nothing and be happy. You got a lot of the older people who may have got rejected of getting a pension, or some of them may have a pension, but now they're in a position where it's not enough. So you got a lot of older people coming they have to stay in the workplace, and it's just it's becoming a terrible situation. And I'm trying to see how many other solutions are there besides, because back in the day, I say about 10, 15, 20 years ago, most of the people who were being looked up to were like the, mainstream entertainment on the cable and TV and stuff. Nowadays, it almost seems like you have to be like like an influencer, like a social media influencer or something, to kind of get out of this rat race, in a sense, almost. Like you have to blow up. Now there's other ways, like you can invest in stuff, but I don't see the sustainable part of just like working a job. I don't see it. At some point, it won't be many of those anyway. It'll be people basically getting like UBI, universal basic income, or universal basic services, and they'll basically be supporting people who really can't do anything. But that money will be like, it'll be like a recyclable type of it'll be like a recyclable or revolving financial sense, to where they will have to keep giving that money right back as soon as they get it. Like they won't be able to use that money for anything else. No investing, or no owning, none of that. You spend the money we give you, and you give it right back, and then it goes into the economy, and then the mega corporations will be the ones getting rich, and the people would just stay poor, man. I don't know. I'm just rambling right now because I ain't got too much else to talk about on all this. But yeah, man, making $25, $35 an hour, that's not it, man. If it was like adjusted appropriately, the job I'm doing, I'm probably supposed to make at least $45, $55 an hour. You know, and everybody else should get adjusted too, but that's not going to happen. You know, the people were getting a little bit too out of control, and it would become a little bit too hard to control. So they had to change the game up, and they changed it in a drastic way. So, you know, it is what it is. Peace.